Hey, David Brewster here with another 3 for All. This is 3 Bruce Kulick Licks from 1989. And Bruce Kulick's a guitar legend that's been on the scene since the late 70s, and he was a member of Michael Bolton's old band Blackjack. He also appears on Billy Squier's first solo album, and he toured with Meatloaf in the early 80s alongside his late great brother Bob Kulick, the famous producer and guitarist. And then Bruce joined forces with KISS somewhere around 1984. He played with KISS from 84 until about 1996, which is around the time they put the makeup back on. And then he joined forces with Grand Funk Railroad in the year 2000. So he was a member of KISS for about 12 years. He's been a member of Grand Funk Railroad for 21 years. And Bruce is just a dynamic and very expressive blues rock, guitarist. Definitely there's a blues influence, but he taps and he dives with the bar and does all sorts of things that aren't really blues influenced. So he's a very exciting and dynamic player, and I've been following him and aware of him since I was a teenager. And I definitely saw him with KISS back in the day, which was really cool. So Bruce really isn't a household name. Well, unless your household is a KISS house, then he is a household name. But most people, especially younger players, may not really know his name. But he's been on the scene for a very long time. He's worked and toured and performed with a whole bunch of people. And here's an image with some of the people he's played with in his career. And it's just a partial list, but it's still very impressive. So I've had some requests to feature Bruce and some of his music, in an episode on this channel. I've also had requests for more KISS and more Ace Frehley. And surprisingly, I've even had requests for USB Ace Frehley to come back on the show. So without further ado, since this is KISS related, please welcome back USB Ace Frehley. So something really interesting happened last year, and I know a lot of interesting things happened last year. But one thing that I missed, and it wasn't until I did the research for this episode, and then I thought, oh my gosh, it happened. But Ace Frehley released Origins Volume 2, and he had Bruce join him on a cover of Manic Depression, the old Hendrix song. And when I saw that, I was like, no way, hell froze over. Ace and Bruce recorded together, which I think is so cool. Great job, Ace. So the licks in this lesson came from a guitar clinic that Bruce gave in 1989, and it's kind of an unusual clinic. It goes on for about an hour, and it's just a camcorder, out in the crowd. And you never see the crowd. The camera's just pointed on Bruce the whole time. But he's talking about the band and equipment and stuff, and they're asking questions, and then he's playing a little bit. And it's very candid, very off the cuff, and very loose, you can tell. But really interesting, and I love, capturing, footage like this, where it's like, very relaxed, it's not on stage, it's not prepared or rehearsed. It's just very loose and off the cuff, which I like that. The first lick's this A blues scale based idea in a higher position, like this. One more time. So we're in a really high position right there of A blues scale. We're basically starting on this A and coming down like this. And then right here, you're going to grab this G, this E, and then this E flat right there. And you're going to do that pull off there 3 times in a row like that. And then right there, you're going to come down the A blues like this. So when you do that kind of sidestepping move, and then you're moving your way down to that A, when you get to that A, go back to the C and then dip your bar right there like this. One more time. And then right there, you're going to do this oblique bend. Grab the 19th fret on the G, bend that up a whole step while you're holding the 20th fret there on the B. Then he starts kind of dipping the bar there. One more time here. Okay, up next we've got an E blues scale based idea, like this. One more time. So right there we're in E blues. And he's starting it like this. So grab that B B and E, and then grab D, bend that up a whole step, and then bring it back down like this. And you're going to come down E blues like this. One more time. And right there when you do that slight bend on the 12th fret on the G, you're going to come down and continue down E blues like this. And I love the ending where he's basically walking down like this. And he kind of mimics that with a bend. And a little... And then you end that G note and dip the bar. So one more time here. The second half of this lesson is going to focus on tapping, and I know back in the day when Bruce was working with KISS, he tapped a lot, he used the bar a lot, and I'm not honestly sure how much he taps or uses the bar with Grand Funk Railroad. I think he was just kind of doing it at that time with the band, because it was the 80s. But during this clinic, he basically demonstrates 4-point tapping, and I've had a lot of people ask about this over the years. So anytime you see that terminology, point, 4-point or 5-point tapping, that really just means notes. We're playing 3 notes with your fret hand, and we're tapping a 4th note with your picking hand, like this. And that's basically the lick I'm going to show in this clip here in a second, but one more time. And it basically starts with E major right here, and this is the 4-point tapping I was talking about. We're basically grabbing this G sharp, A, B, and we're tapping E right there on the 17th fret on the B, like this. And there's your 4-point tapping. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm hearing the C sharp just for a second here. So he's kind of doing this. Up a whole step right there, grab this A, B, C sharp, and then double tap that E. And go back down. And you're going to grab the 16th fret and pull off this F sharp to E. And then end on that B note right there. So it's a frantic little tapping lick. Like that. The next lick is actually a tapping section from the song No 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 from the Crazy Nights album by KISS. And people in the clinic, asked Bruce to play this. And there was a cut just for a second. So the clip that I'm going to show, it's just kind of a brief, snippet of this lick. But during that intro section of No No No, you hear Bruce doing this. That 4-point tapping again. And you're going to grab this D sharp, E, F sharp, and tap B right there. And you're going to do that 4 times like this. Then you're going to change this B tap note to a D sharp and then a C sharp and then go back to B right there twice like this. Down a whole step basically, and now you're going to tap this A note on the 10th fret, and you're grabbing C sharp, D, and E right there, and do basically the same thing. And then you do it again. Really cool tapping lick. And here's a bonus lick from this clinic, and it's technically part of Bruce's live solo that he performed on the Crazy Nights tour with KISS, from 87 to 88. And somebody in the crowd at this clinic said something about that solo, and then he starts playing this lick. And it's kind of reverting back to the Van Halen triplet-based tapping, but it's really cool, like this. starting here and we're grabbing A and C and tapping E, so that's A minor, and this is loosely based around A minor. And we're grabbing this. So your tapping note's going to change from E to that F right there, you know, moving from 17 to 18 on the B string. Then move the fretted part down one fret and then reverse what you did with the tapping. So one more time there. Stay on that 17 tap and move down one more fret. And you're going to move from that E to F tap note. And move the fretted hand down one more fret. Tapping note's going to move from E to D right there. When you get to that D note, move the fret hand down one more fret. You're moving from that D to E again. And right there, return to that D note and move down another fret with your fret hand. There you're going from D to C with the tap notes. You're going to basically move that C note back up to D, and you're going to move back up here. So you're going to grab this F sharp and A right there. And then move all that up basically a whole step. So now tap E, and you're grabbing G sharp and B. And you can end on A somewhere in there. But one more time, just kind of walking through it. Alright, that's going to wrap this episode of 3 for All with 3 Bruce Kulick Licks from 1989. And Bruce is a very dynamic and expressive guitarist, you know, very interesting, full of great rhythms and riffs and licks and fills and solos and all sorts of stuff. You know, great player, commonly overlooked unless you're a KISS fan, then you know who that is. But if you're not really a KISS fan, you may not really know the name, and you should. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments, please subscribe to my lessons, and I'll be back before you know it with more content material. Thank you.